I am curious and intrigued about this gentleman's journey and story. Restarting life in another country after midlife seems exciting, challenging, and a bit frightening, but we're only on the planet for a short period of time. I am curious as to why he didn't explore and secure a temporary, then permanent, Mexican residency prior to leaving the United States.
So recently a user posed this exact question. Why didn't I get residency in Mexico before I moved to Mexico last year? That's a perfectly normal, good question. In this video, I'll give you my answers. Well, the short answer is I didn't have the money. But what I'll do in this video is talk about the different types of residency and the different ways to get them. So for Mexico, you have two types of residency options. There's temporary and then there's permanent. Temporary residency is good for 1 year and it's renewable up to 4 years. And then once those 4 years are up, you need to either leave Mexico or apply for permanent residency. As the name implies, permanent residency is good for life, the rest of your life. Now, to get residency in Mexico, I know of three main options. The first one is marrying a local. If you marry a local Mexican citizen, that's a pathway to permanent residency. For me, that's not an option. I don't have a partner. Another way is through a job offer, which was my plan. My original plan was to get a job as an English teacher at a local language school in Guatemala, and that didn't work out. Typically, you get a job offer and they apply for a work permit on your behalf, and once that work permit application has been approved, then you interview at a Mexican consulate outside of Mexico, and then you get a temporary residence visa, typically for the length of the teaching contract, which might be a year or 2 years. And now the third option of getting residency is through financial solvency, and that's fairly detailed, so I'll go over that in this video. For temporary residency, you need to be earning a certain amount of money per month over the last 6 months. It's around $4,000, which this depends on which consulate you apply at. There are hundreds of consulates throughout the United States and Canada, and each consulate has different financial requirements. I don't know why this is, but that's the reality. From Arizona, specifically Tucson, and before I left Arizona, I believe the number was, I think, $4,300 per month net income. So we'll just stick with that $4,300 figure for the purposes of this video. That's your net income, $4,300 a month for the past 6 months. It could be from your job, it could be from a pension or some other source like self-employment. That part doesn't matter, but it does need to be at least $4,300 per month for the last 6 months net, take-home pay after taxes. Now, what's that in terms of gross income? Well, let's take 4,300 times 1.5. That's what, I don't know, $6,500 per month. That's over $70,000 a year gross income you would have to be earning in order to have a shot of earning temporary residency through financial solvency. Now, if your job or source of income doesn't pay that much, another way to do it is through your savings. If you have, I believe it's at least $70,000 in the bank, US dollars, over the past 12 months that you could prove that you have, then that's another way of getting temporary residency through financial solvency. So if you don't have the income, they'll look at your savings. And if you don't have enough savings, then you're out of luck for temporary residency. For permanent residency, it's even harder to meet. You need to have something like $7,500 a month net income. I'm just going by memory. I'll have some financials for you later in this video. And by the way, those financials will be provided courtesy of Mexico Relocation Guide. That's mexicorelocationguide.com. They're the source I get for the information on financial solvency requirements in one easy to access place. So for permanent residency, monthly net take-home pay of around $7,500 per month, give or take, depending on the consulate. That's $7,500 gross income. That's what, $10,000 a month? That's 6 figures per year. I don't make anywhere near that kind of income. In fact, when I was in Arizona working full-time, I was making about $3,500, $4,000, maybe $4,500 a month in a good month. And I was self-employed as a 1099 contractor. So my gross income and my net income were the same. When you're a 1099 independent contractor, self-employed, you pay the taxes at the end of the year. So for permanent residency, let's say $10,000 a month gross income, that's a pretty high bar to reach. And if you don't have that kind of income, they'll look at your savings, and you need to have something like $275,000 in the bank over the past 12 months. The financial solvency requirements continue to increase each year. It's based upon the Mexican minimum wage, and I understand that President Claudia Sheinbaum and her predecessor AMLO have done a great job of lifting millions of Mexican citizens out of poverty by raising the minimum wage. And when the minimum wage goes up, so do the financial solvency requirements for getting residency. Hey, I give Mexico a lot of credit for raising the minimum wage. That's something the United States has not done since 2009. So kudos to Presidenta Sheinbaum and AMLO before her for raising the minimum wage. It's the right and ethical thing to do for the working class. But for gringos, I'll put these numbers up on the screen for you here. It's $4,321 net take-home pay per month for the past 6 months for Phoenix, Arizona, and $72,000 in the bank savings for the past 12 months for temporary residency. Those are the numbers for 2026. Obviously, if you can't meet this financial solvency requirements, there's getting a job, which I tried to do and didn't work out, and there's also marrying a local, which for me is not a possibility, at least not now. So I'm locked out of Mexico on these three bases. I know there are probably some other ways of getting residency in Mexico. I don't know what those are, but in this video, I simply wanted to go over those three main pathways: marrying a local, job offer, or financial solvency. And now, to wrap up this video, I want to give special thanks to MexicoRelocationGuide.com. The visual that you're seeing up on this screen is just a screenshot from their website. I'm presenting that for your information. And also, I'm going to provide the median income for Arizona. It's about $77,000 a year median income, which means that 50% of households in Phoenix, Arizona earn below $77,000 a year, and the other half earn above $77,000. So if you're serious about getting residency by financial solvency and you're gunning for temporary residency, I hope you have at least a median income, because it's getting harder and harder to do these days. Wages are stagnant in the United States for the most part, which is a great argument for being self-employed, but that presents its own unique challenges. So the bottom line is, if you're a single parent like myself, it's much harder to get residency compared to being a couple. At least if you're a couple, you're likely a dual income household. And from what I understand, residency, the financial solvency requirements, I don't know if it's different between a single person household versus a married couple. I don't think they make any distinction for that. And so there you have it, my reasons for why I didn't get residency in Mexico. I had every intention of doing so, but I'm financially locked out, didn't get that job offer, and marriage is not on the table anytime soon. So thank you for watching this video to the end. My name is Jason. This is the Spend Channel, single parent, empty nester, digital nomad, where I teach and help single parent empty nesters, help them build a game plan for relocating abroad, whether it's Mexico or Belize, Guatemala, or elsewhere. If you like this video, please give it a like, leave a comment if you have a question, and share this video with anybody who feels interested. And that's all from now. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.